Well, we can speak now to co-director of the USC Gold School of Law Immigration Clinic, Miss Jean Reisz. Thanks for being with us and giving us your time. We're looking there just at one example of Florida, where laws are becoming much, much tougher when it comes to migrants there. Is this something we're seeing reproduced elsewhere in the US? Can you give us an idea of what exactly the Trump administration, what impact have they had on migrants in the US at this stage?
Well, the Trump administration has really polarized the debate about immigration, with states who are clamping down on immigration laws and anti-sanctuary laws, and other states trying to beef up their protections for immigrants within. The president has kind of expanded his authority, and there's a lot of litigation regarding his violation of immigration laws and constitutional protections for immigrants within the U.S.
Is it up to each state? Does each state, if you like, have control? I mean, these sanctuary states, will they ultimately be able to provide that, or does Trump have the final say?
Trump has the final say. Sanctuary is a bit of a misnomer. No state can actually prevent the federal government from entering its state, arresting and deporting immigrants who are in violation of immigration law. All that states can really do is make it harder for the Trump administration to do that by not voluntarily cooperating with its enforcement efforts. As contrary to that is Florida, which is beefing up its voluntary cooperation.
I am hearing that some legal support, representation, for example, for children that enter the US alone, that the Trump administration has pulled that, so children now are being brought to court, with no lawyer by their side?
Yes, under American law, people who can't afford attorneys in immigration court, including children, have to represent themselves. And we have received stop work orders for some of the largest funders of representation for children. And I have to say that we're talking 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, up to 17-year-olds that are going to have to represent themselves in immigration court.
Has any of that happened yet? Is this just something, that looms ahead? Do you see that as likely? I mean, it just seems impossible.
Well, there has been a history of children having to represent themselves in court. A lot of organizations are being funded to provide representation at no cost to the children. So it has happened before, but we're really seeing wide-scale layoffs of attorneys who provide pro bono representation of children. I anticipate that there's going to be a lawsuit to try and stop that from happening.
I mean, when it comes to Trump's promise of mass deportations, do you see that being the future? And, could he even bring the military in? Is that actually an option?
Well, the military has been brought in under previous administrations to do administrative tasks, stock warehouses, mend fences, so that more immigration officials can be out on the street making arrests. The president has the authority to deport every single person present in the U.S. in violation of immigration law, but there's just not enough personnel, immigration judges, immigration officials to do that. The military has always helped in the background, but it would be very problematic if the military starts patrolling streets and arresting people and enforcing immigration law.
We did see recently Guantanamo Bay be reopened, if you like, or reused as a place where asylum seekers or people wanting to make applications to live in the US would be held. What kind of people could be sent there, and where are they left legally?
Well, the question about whether certain United States protections can be afforded to people in Guantanamo Bay has made it a more desirable place. I believe there have already been some Venezuelan immigrants who have been transported to Guantanamo Bay. And I know there's been litigation to prevent certain people in detention from being transported while they have cases here in the US, because the jurisdiction of those cases might go away. It's really an effort to, I think part of it is show, but also a lot of it is to make it harder for immigrants to have access to attorneys, resources, to isolate them, and make it easier to deport them.
Finally, before we leave you, Ms. Reisz, how worried are you for migrants in the United States?
Well, I see a lot of morale that's falling. I feel like there's a lot of tension regarding just the treatment of immigrants and the dehumanization of immigrants. I think that there's going to be a lot of litigation. I think President Trump might be prevented from doing some of the things that he wants to do, like end birthright citizenship. But I think that he's also going to get away with some of these very draconian measures, and he's really amplifying kind of the authority of the president over immigration.
Ms. Jean Reisz of the USC School of Law Immigration Clinic, thanks very much indeed for your time.